The Lion, the King, and the Pauper. An alchemical riddle. Once upon a time, in a mysterious and beautiful kingdom, in a distant, faraway land, there was a wise and beneficent king. Through his wisdom and his good heart, he had guided his subjects so that the kingdom had become an earthly paradise. No one wanted for anything, and they lived in a peaceful, joyous harmony. But as the years rolled on, the great king grew weary. Without any challenges, without anything to focus his great intellect, he sought entertainment. And kidding himself that he was aiming to bring joy to others, he became increasingly decadent. He loved the eccentric, the unusual, and the flamboyant. He held great concerts, theatrical displays, fun fairs, and even gladiatorial games. Nothing would satisfy his desire for the exciting, for the unusual, and for the creative. So, when the time came for him to find a suitor for his only child, the princess and heir of the kingdom, it seemed natural that he should arrange a competition, a great trial, which suited his own eccentricities. To this end, he put forth the challenge. He had captured a great and mighty lion, a lion that had been legendary in the land surrounding his kingdom, a lion with a Herculean strength and a size not seen in this form of beast before, said to be so mighty that it could kill a rhinoceros or an elephant with one strike. This lion had been caged within the greatest of the stadiums that he had in his ownership. And he who could come forth with a restraint that could tie the lion so that it could not escape would win his daughter's hand in marriage. To this end, the lion would be sedated. It would be drugged with its last meal, and during its sleep, anyone who accepted the challenge would be able to tie it still. But they must do so at their own risk, for if the lion was to awake, this could be the end of their days. Well, all the great kingdoms surrounding this king's majesty heard of the challenge, and princes lords and noblemen alike, devised their own plans, hired the greatest inventors and blacksmiths, and came to meet the challenge. Sometimes teams of sailors would attempt to tie the lion in a way they knew it could not get free of. But its strength was too much, and the ropes always tore with ease. Sometimes blacksmiths would create chains so thick that it looked as if the weight of them would actually crush the lion. But when they came to see how big the beast really was, it was no match, and it soon wriggled free. Time after time, people came with manacles, devices, and restraints, some more inventive than others, but each time, guile, strength, or skill of the lion ruled and dominated. It seemed as if no one would win the princess's hand in marriage, and the king found himself joyed by both this and by the entertainment of the spectacle. But then a mysterious figure appeared within the city. A pauper, dressed in simple clothes, who possessed nothing of his own. He carried with him a thin, usual chain, the kind that you would see used in a marketplace or on a fishing boat. He brought also with him 3 padlocks, which he had painted in bright colours. One was red, another white, and the other blue. He took these padlocks and the chain and presented them as his restraints and asked whether he could take part in the challenge. The king accepted, and the crowd laughed at such an unlikely prospect. As the pauper approached the lion, he did so in a different manner than any of the other challengers, one of kindness and tenderness. The lion was already asleep, having been administered its sedative and anaesthetized before him. He knew that this would wear off quickly, so he must work with haste. He took the chain and tied it round its neck as to form a collar, using one padlock, the white one, to secure it at the centre of his neck, making sure that lengths of chain hung to either side. He then secured the other 2 padlocks, one on each end of the chain, so that 3 padlocks hung before the lion as a loose collar. He stepped back, and the cage was closed. The crowd watched with anticipation, confused at the marvel that was presented to them. as the lion awoke. It let out an almighty roar in the manner that it was accustomed to do so. The restraint seemed so ineffective to the king that he wondered if the lion would use its excess strength to escape from the cage. But soon his fear was allayed. Upon starting to move, the 3 bright padlocks, which were attached around the neck of the lion, shook and caught the lion's attention. The lion responded with rage and struck at them. And as he did so, the padlocks moved. This only caused to frustrate and enrage the lion more, who struck harder and struggled with more vigour. And of course, the more strength the lion used, the faster the padlocks were to move themselves. And they struck him with his own force, causing him to be further spurred to action. This process continued, and the lion became more and more angry, as if bellows on a hot fire. Great plumes of dust came up from within the cage, and the lion rolled around in a desperate struggle to detach or destroy the padlocks which it perceived as a threat or a menace. As the lion continued, something started to change in its demeanour. It became tired, but its inner rage and ambition continued to push it further and further. Soon it was working on the edge of its ability. The crowd and the king could see its muscles shake with fatigue. Even as it started to collapse, it could not relent. Any small movement from the padlock, whether the colour was one or another, caused it to rear up again, until the lion was all but unconscious with tiredness. All anger escaped, and it was completely still. The pauper called for the cage to be unlocked. He walked towards the lion with the same tenderness and the same kindness as when he restrained it. Put its hand on its head and removed the 3 padlocks and chains, placing them around his own neck in a gesture of success and victory. And thus he won the hand of the princess and inherited the kingdom for himself. This story contains great and invaluable secrets to those who can understand it.